And Judge, this is the problem I was mentioning earlier. This is not me. This is Andreu Palma. They're another law firm that does a lot of credit card cases.
Well, that's all right. Can you tell me on their behalf whether your office or they would be open to settlement discussions?
I'm not here for them today. I'm not. They have no. Like I was starting to say earlier, Midland hires half a dozen law firms almost every pretrial. This one, I'm not here for that case, so they may.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is Midland Credit Management Inc. 20 SC 1527 versus Anthony Ramirez. And ma'am, you're here with your husband, who is Anthony Ramirez, correct?
That is correct.
And Mr. Garrett, you're telling me that Midland Credit Management Inc. is not represented today at this pretrial?
Not by me. That's correct.
All right, well, I'm going to review the file to see whether they were properly noticed to be here. There is an order setting the pretrial conference for today's date, January the 8th at 10 o'clock. It's now 10:17. I signed that order back on November 23rd, 2020. And the notice clearly says plaintiff must appear in order to avoid a dismissal. And they're not here. For everyone's information, no one is in the courtroom. The courtroom is empty. And I've got one person in the waiting room. Mr. Garrett, would you know the attorney's name or no?
Well, they're like, the name on the complaint is Melanie Weisman, but they always, they're a large law firm. They always have different attorneys.
Okay, I've just admitted the one person in the waiting room, so I'm going to see if that's the attorney for Midland.
Oh, that's a defendant's attorney. I know the name.
Christopher Jacobs.
He's typically here for defendants.
Mr. Jacobs?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're
here.
Counsel, and are you an attorney?
I sure am.
Who do you represent?
Carlos Rojas.
All right, so you're here on behalf of a defendant. I'll be with you in just a minute, okay?
Sure.
Okay, let me go back then, ma'am, to your case, Anthony Ramirez, 20 SC 1527. Again, as I was just indicating, the plaintiff was properly noticed and is not here. Again, no one is in the courtroom and no one else is in the waiting room for the Zoom hearing. The notice clearly says that the plaintiff must appear in order to avoid a dismissal. Ma'am, you're here, they're not. So this case is dismissed. Do you have any questions?
No, sir. So far, so good.
Well, let me explain one other thing to you then, and then you can sign off. Sometimes when this plaintiff's attorney may send in a motion to set aside, a motion is a request to set aside the dismissal and reschedule a pretrial conference. I don't know whether that will happen or not. And if it does happen, I don't know whether I will grant that request or not. It depends on the request, but I'm just advising you that that is a possibility. Do you understand that?
Right. That's a possibility. Yes, I understand.
Okay. But right now the case is dismissed and you and your husband are free to sign off. Thank you, ma'am. And
thank you
sir.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And Madam Clerk, I do have orders I'll be sending up to you for each of these cases.
Great, thank you, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Garrett, what are your other cases, sir?
Certainly. Or do we want to check on I work a lot with Mr. Jacobs. Do we want to check on his case first?
I'm happy to do that. Mr. Jacobs, I'm sorry, tell me the name again for your client.
It's Carlos Rojas. And actually, Your Honor and Mr. Garrett, I just heard from the plaintiff. We have just worked that out. And,
is it
I've
maybe
sent an agreement back to them.
I'm sorry, is it possibly?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I only have one Rojas.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
They sent it to me as Carlos, but I'll have to get them to fix that, I guess.
Well, let's go with the case number. Do you have 20 SC 1507?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me. Oh yeah, they sent. That's a completely different case. I'm sorry. Hold. 1 second, Your Honor.
Well, I was excited about a resolution there, and now you're telling me it's on another case.
No, I'm pretty sure it will be.
Okay.
but let me check. Yes, 1507 is the one I do have.
Okay, so that's the one
And,
on my docket, Roberto Rojas.
Maybe I have to walk that back. Maybe the Carlos Rojas is in a different county, and we did indeed settle that case, but not this one. So I am confident that we will get this one settled. And perhaps if Mr. Garrett agrees, we could continue pending.
Mr. Garrett?
Yeah, I have no objection.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm just going to make a note here on my order that both of you appeared, and you'll attempt to resolve this amongst yourselves. If you're unable to do that, you can contact Eiler and schedule a mediation, okay?
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Jacobs. Have a great day.
You too. Happy
Thank you.
weekend, too.
Thanks. Same to you.
Take care. Bye,
All
Mr.
right.
Garrett.
Thanks, Chris. Bye.
Mr. Garrett, we're out of people, and so I know that we've got quite a few left. Some are yours and some are not, right?
Right.
Okay, you want to call them?
Yeah, we can start with 1598, Glenora Hamilton.
All right, so Genora, I've got with a G. Oh, G Lenora. Okay. G Lenora Hamilton, 20 SC 1598. And what I'll do once you call these cases, Mr. Garrett, is I just need to review each file for notice, obviously, to make sure they were properly noticed.
Certainly. So we go to the next.
Mr. Jacobs, I see you're still here. If you have any other cases, let me know, or you're free to sign off. Okay, on Hamilton, there's an order setting pretrial conference for today's date, January 8th, 10 o'clock. It's 10:23. We mailed this to the defendant on November 23rd. Courthouse is empty. The waiting room is empty. Mr. Garrett, unless you have anything else to tell me, I'm going to sign an order indicating you appeared, she did not, and a default is entered in your favor against the defendant.
Sounds good.
All right, and I'll ask you to submit a proposed judgment with supporting affidavits if you haven't done that already, okay?
Will do.
All right, thank you. Okay, who else?
Next one is 1717, Mario Pasos.
Pasos, and that's, as you said, 20 SC 1717. Again, there's an order setting pretrial conference. I should say that all of these folks have been served. I went through all of these cases before I set them to confirm that they were served. So I'm not leaving that out. I've already confirmed it for everyone. Mario Pasos, 20 SC 1717 was noticed. The notice went out on November 23rd, 2020 for today's date, 10 o'clock. It's 10:24. Again, the courtroom is empty. No one is in the waiting room. I'm going to make a note here. Mr. Garrett appeared on behalf of the plaintiff. Defendant did not. Default is entered against the defendant, with plaintiff to submit a proposed judgment with supporting affidavits.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next is 1797, Margarita Hernandez.
Margarita Hernandez, reviewing the file for notice. Order setting pretrial conference mailed to the defendant on November 23rd, 2020 for 10 o'clock. It's 10:25. She's not here. She's not in the waiting room. Mr. Garrett is here on behalf of the plaintiff. Defendant, again, is not here. A default is entered based on her failure to appear, with Mr. Garrett to send in a proposed judgment supporting affidavits.
Thank you. Next one is 1799, Nicola Robinson.
All right, Nicola Robinson, 20 SC 1799. There is an order setting pretrial conference in the court file. The order or notice went out on November 23rd for 10 o'clock. It's 10:26. Courtroom is empty. Waiting room is empty. Plaintiff appeared. Defendant did not. Default entered against the defendant. Plaintiff to submit a proposed judgment supporting affidavits.
Thank you. Next one is 2057, Graceline Jean St. Louis.
Okay, sorry, it took me a minute, but I do see that case now. 20 SC 2057. Let's see, Graceline Jean St. Louis. There is an order setting pretrial conference in the file that I signed, mailed to defendant November 23rd for 10 o'clock today. It's 10:26. So she was properly noticed. She's not here. The waiting room is empty. Signing an order indicating plaintiff appeared. Defendant did not. Default entered against the defendant based on her failure to appear. Plaintiff to submit a judgment with supporting affidavits.
All right, so that's all the ones that I originally had scheduled. Some of the rest of these might be mine.
Okay, how do we confirm that?
Might be my client. I just got to pull them up, pull up the complaint to see. Because if Midland Corporate filed the complaint, then I can take them. If it was that other law firm, then I can't.
Do you want? Is it easier for me to do that to tell you?
No, I can do it as we go down the list.
Okay.
I can pull them up quickly. If you want to call out numbers or the
Do you prefer a last name or a case number? What's easier?
The case number, because I'm just on the website.
Okay, 20 SC 1526.
26. Oscar. That's not me.
Not you. All right. The next one is 20 SC 1472.
1472. Looks like Christina. Not me.
Next is 20 SC 1857.
That's Kirby, right?
Yes, sir.
That is me, Kirby Jean, 1857.
So we can proceed on this one?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Kirby Jean, 20 SC 1857. I'm reviewing the file for notice. Mr. Garrett is here on behalf of plaintiff. There's an order setting pretrial conference I mailed out November 23rd to defendant for 10 o'clock today. It's now 10:29. She's not in the courtroom. She's not in the waiting room. Plaintiff appeared, defendant did not. A default is hereby entered against the defendant with plaintiff to submit a proposed judgment with supporting affidavits.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next case number, are you ready?
Yes, please.
20 SC 1479.
It's Adriana.
Yes, sir.
Something. That is not me.
All right. 20 SC 1842.
Juan Martinez.
Yes, sir.
That is me.
All right. I'm reviewing the file for notice based on your appearance for plaintiff. There is an order setting pretrial conference today. I mailed out to defendant November 23rd for 10 o'clock. It's 10:30. He's not in the courtroom. He's not on the in the waiting room. So a default is entered against the defendant with plaintiff to submit a proposed judgment and supporting affidavits.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Next case number is 20 SC 1802.
It's George Rivero.
Yes.
That is me.
All right. So we have Mr. Garrett appearing for plaintiff. I'm reviewing the file to address notice to the defendant. An order setting pretrial conference mailed to defendant November 23rd. I signed it, sent it to him for 10 o'clock today. It's 10:31. All of these orders or notices have the login credentials for our hearing. He's not here. He's not in the waiting room. So a default is entered against the defendant based on his failure to appear with plaintiff to submit a proposed judgment and supporting affidavits.
Thank you.
All right. And your next case is 20 SC 1572.
Alexander Suarez.
Yes, sir.
That is me.
All right. There is an order setting pretrial conference in the court file that was mailed to Mr. Suarez November 23rd for 10 o'clock. It's 10:32. He was properly noticed. He's not here. He's not in the waiting room. A default is entered against Mr. Suarez based on his failure to appear, with Mr. Garrett to submit a proposed judgment and supporting affidavits.
Thank you.
Next case is 20 SC 1458.
That's Owen Valerie.
Yes, sir.
Not me.
And the last case number is 20 SC 1552.
Sean O'Neill.
Yes, sir.
That is me.
All right, there's an order or a notice of pretrial conference that I signed and mailed to the defendant on November 23rd to be here today at 10 o'clock. It's now 10:33. He was properly noticed. No one is in the courtroom, and he's not in the waiting room. So, based on his failure to appear, a default is entered against defendant with plaintiff to submit a proposed judgment and supporting affidavits. Mr. Garrett, I guess you've got somewhere else to be, and then I'll see you again at 11.
I got 10:30. I'll be back somewhere around 11. It'll be the same drill. That's all. It looks like it's all Midland cases again, I think.
Yes, sir.
And we'll go through them then. Thank you.
Same drill. Yes, sir. I'll see you then. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Madam Clerk, we've got a few left to address. We're out of people. No more plaintiffs. No more defendants. Waiting room is empty. The courtroom is empty. So I've got four cases left. We'll address those, starting with Oscar De Leon, 20 SC 1526. The order setting pretrial conference for today's date at 10 o'clock was mailed to the plaintiff and the defendant, neither of whom are here. I'm making a note of that. Both parties failed to appear at the pretrial conference, and this case is dismissed based on plaintiff's failure to appear. And again, no one is in the courtroom and no one else is in the waiting room. The next case is Christina Hart, 20 SC 1472. The order setting pretrial conference was mailed to both parties on November 23rd to be here today at 10 o'clock. It's 10:34. Based on the plaintiff's failure to appear, this case is dismissed. Next case is Adriana Juelson, 20 SC 1479. There is an order setting pretrial conference for today's date at 10 o'clock. This was mailed to both parties on November 23rd, 2020. Again, like all of the other cases we've addressed today, with the Zoom login credentials. So both parties were properly noticed. This case is dismissed based on plaintiff's failure to appear. And as I said, Madam Clerk, I do have orders for every one of these cases that I'll be sending up to you, okay?
Not a problem, Your Honor.
All right, last case on our 10 o'clock docket is Owen Valerie, 20 SC 1458. Owen Valerie. There's an order setting pretrial conference for today at 10 o'clock with all of the Zoom login credentials. I mailed this order or notice to both parties November 23rd. Neither party is here. Again, no one else is in the waiting room. This case is dismissed based on plaintiff's failure to appear.
Right.
Okay. Madam Clerk, is that a wrap until 11?
It sure is, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll see you then.
I'll see you then.
Thank you.
Not a
Okay,
problem.
bye-bye. Folks, please put your audio on mute when you join the meeting. Please put your audio on mute. Folks, please put your audio on mute until I call your case. I need everyone to put their audio on mute, please, to avoid feedback. Put your audio on mute. Madam Clerk, are you here? Looks like we're waiting for our clerk to join us. She was here at 10.
Judge, while we wait, there's the attorney now that missed some of the 10 o'clock hearings. If you wanted to talk to her about those.
Well, once I get through my 11 o'clock docket, I will.
Thought I'd let you know.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to call the clerk's office. I don't know where our clerk is. Give me just a minute.
Melanie, there was a 10 o'clock docket and there was a bunch of Midland cases that you had that no one was there for.
Okay, thanks.
Just to let you know.
They were with Andrea and Palma?
Yeah. It was an all Midland calendar. I had like 10 or 15 and your office had 5 or 10. Because this is
Okay.
like a weird docket of all the cases that got messed up last year or something.
Okay, I'll try to find out who was assigned to them, and
Just thought I'd let you know.
thanks.
She's here. Thank you, Stephanie.
Okay,
Thanks. Bye. That's all right. Bye. Okay. Good morning, folks. We're here for a small claims pretrial conference docket. It looks like everyone has now joined us from the waiting room. Again, please keep your audio on mute until I call your case. First of all, let me explain. This is, as I said, a pretrial conference. What this is not is a mediation. We're not here to mediate your case. I will not be discussing the merits of your case individually or attempting to help you mediate or resolve the case. What we're here to do is to determine, first of all, whether both sides are ready to try the case, and whether both sides are open to the possibility of mediation to resolve your case. So oftentimes, folks in small claims court can resolve their cases themselves just by talking with the other side. So the first thing I want to do is explain to you the process or procedure we follow here. This is, as I said, a pretrial conference. And when I call your cases individually, you'll have a chance to tell me whether you are willing to discuss the possibility of settlement with the other side. And if both sides are willing to have that conversation, then you will do that on your own, not this morning, not with me present, but you'll discuss this with the other side. If you are able to settle the case, great. If you are unable to settle your case, then you will come back for a mediation. At that time, you'll have an opportunity to settle your case again. If you're unable to settle your case with the help of a mediator, then you will come back for a trial. The trial will be in front of a judge, probably me, it could be someone else, and that trial would be on Zoom, just like our hearing this morning. So you understand that the end result is possibly a trial if you're not able to resolve your case. So I want to just take a few minutes to explain the risks that are associated with the trial process for both sides. The plaintiff in your case has the burden of proof. That means the plaintiff has to bring forth enough evidence to prove the case or they lose. And that's the risk to the plaintiff of going to trial. They may not satisfy that burden of proof. If you are a defendant in one of these cases, you do not have the burden of proof, but there is still a risk, or there are risks associated with the trial process for defendants. The first obvious risk is that at the end of the trial, I may enter a money judgment against you, ordering you to pay the plaintiff a certain amount of money. That's the obvious risk. The other risk, I think, maybe less obvious but more significant, is the potential adverse consequence a judgment would have on your credit. And so there are some risks associated with the trial process for defendants, and you should be mindful of that. You should think about that when you decide whether to settle your case with the plaintiff. Now, let me talk about that. How are cases resolved or settled in small claims court? Sometimes they look like this. The first step is the plaintiff and the defendant have to agree on a dollar amount. What amount do you agree to pay? If you can do that, then the next step is to agree to monthly payments or payments every 2 weeks or weekly payments. You would agree on a payment plan. And that's how these cases are oftentimes resolved in small claims court. Why would a defendant enter into such an agreement? What's the benefit to you? There is a benefit to you if you are a defendant. The benefit is if you make all of the payments that you agree to, you finish the payment plan, then the plaintiff will voluntarily dismiss the case. That means there is no trial. You don't come back for mediation or for trial. The case is dismissed. So there's no judgment ever entered against you. That's the benefit to the defendant of entering into a payment plan with the plaintiff. What's the benefit to the plaintiff? Well, the benefit to the plaintiff is if you agree to a payment plan and then you fail to satisfy that agreement, in other words, you miss a payment, then the plaintiff will get a default judgment against you. A judgment will be entered against you without coming back for a trial. So there are risks associated with the trial process for both sides. And there are benefits to both sides to resolving your case with some sort of settlement agreement. And I want you to think about that when we call your case. Now, I'm going to start. Mr. Garrett, are you still with us?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Garrett, do you want to call your cases? I'm not sure which ones you have.
Well,
And
Judge,
we'll see if they're there.
could you call me last possibly?
Sure, you still doing another one?
Yeah, I'm still with Eiler on a couple others, but
Okay,
Judge.
sure. I'll call you last. That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay, I've got someone here that says it's listed as John Martinez. Mr. Martinez, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, and this is 20 SC 2490. Do I have an attorney here for that case?
No.
Your Honor, that's mine.
Okay, then I'll pass that. Mr. Martinez, can you put yourself back on mute? And I'll call your case shortly. Who are my attorneys other than Mr. Garrett here today? Mr. Castro, I saw a hand there. Good morning.
Good morning, Judge Crown. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you today?
Doing all right.
Who do you have?
I am representing Ignacio Soto in 20 SC 2373, Midland Credits in the plaintiff.
All right. Is there an attorney here for Midland Credit in the case of Ignacio Soto? That might be Mr. Garrett as well.
I do not believe it is, Your Honor, actually.
What, do you have a name for the attorney?
Yeah, it was a female name.
Christina Moley, maybe?
Your Honor, this is attorney Melanie Wiesman. She's with my firm, so I guess it's my case, even though it's not on my list.
All right. So do you need a case number to pull the case up, or?
No, it's Ignacio, I apologize, Ignacio G. Soto.
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, I have it, Your Honor.
All right. Have you two or Ms. Wiesman, has someone in your office, to your knowledge, been able to contact Mr. Castro to discuss this case? Maybe Mr. Castro is better positioned to answer that question.
Yes, I was in contact with a certain individual. We were discussing resolving the case. I got a motion to quash service. That's the only thing we filed in response. Service of process wasn't sufficient. The person that is present here today, Carmen Soto, she is the daughter of Ignacio Soto. He is an elderly individual that lives in very rural, extremely rural Immokalee and doesn't have internet access. And because of the pandemic, they've been limiting and his age, and his ailments. They've been limiting his travel and basically just leaving him at home.
Mr. Castro, maybe I misunderstood you. Did you say you did file a motion to quash service, or you plan to? Because I don't see it.
It was filed yesterday, Your Honor.
Okay, it just hasn't made the file yet.
Yeah, probably.
All right.
We are still trying to resolve the case, to try to get it off the docket, Your Honor.
So for those cases where both sides appear, my inclination then would be to sign an order, basically a tracking sheet, pretrial conference tracking sheet, indicating that you both did appear and that you will either attempt to work it out or set a hearing on your motion, Mr. Castro, if you feel that's appropriate, or set it for mediation. But I need you to do one of those things in the next 14 days. You don't have to have the hearing, but I need you to make some sort of decision within the next 2 weeks. Does that sound good to you, Mr. Castro?
That sounds perfectly fine, yeah.
Ms. Wiesman, how do you feel about that?
That's fine, Your Honor.
Okay, so that's the order I'll sign. And Mr. Castro, any other cases for you?
That's all, Your Honor. Have a great morning.
You as well. And your client is here, I think you said?
Carmen Soto, yeah, she's the daughter because Mr. Soto doesn't have internet where he's at.
Okay, I see her name here on the meeting. Ms. Soto, if you can hear me, you're free to log off now as well. You and Mr. Castro.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you both. Okay, so I know I have an attorney here for Midland. That's Ms. Wiesman. Do I have any other attorneys here? Okay, Ms. Wiesman, which ones of these cases do you have?
So Judge, the only one that they put on my docket this morning, which I might have now more, the case is case number 2020 SC 002097, Midland versus Kristen Wolf. And I do see that she is present.
Miss Wolf, can you hear me? Kristen Wolf, I see your name. Can you hear me? Ms. Wolf, I can see you now. Can you take your audio off mute, please? Ms. Wolf, you're still on mute.
Hello?
Ms. Wolf, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello. Okay, I can hear you. Good morning, Ms.
Okay.
Wolf.
Good morning.
I'm going to start with the attorney for the other side, Ms. Wolf, and then I'll come back to you. Ms. Weisman is here on behalf of Midland Credit. This is Midland Credit Management, Inc. versus Wolf, 20 SC 2097. Ms. Weisman, just as far as for purposes of a pretrial conference, can you tell me the nature of this case, whether your side is ready for trial if that becomes necessary, and whether you're open to the possibility of settlement discussions with Ms. Wolf?
Yes, Your Honor, this is for a Home Depot credit card. The amounts that we are seeking are $2,684.77 plus court cost of $370. We are prepared to proceed to trial, and we are also prepared to speak to Ms. Wolf to see if we are able to try and get it settled.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wolf, did you hear my opening remarks?
I did not.
Were you with us the whole time? Did you hear me discuss the risks associated with the trial process and the benefits of settlement?
No, I was muted.
Well, just because you're muted doesn't mean you can't hear me.
Oh, well,
That just
okay.
means I can't hear you.
Okay.
So if you were here, you should have heard all that. So my
Yeah.
question to you is, what's your position? Are you
I have-
interested in?
I have retained an attorney. I'm gonna file for bankruptcy because there are some other things out there that I just want to take care of all at once. So
Okay. So when you
need-
say you've retained an attorney, have you retained an attorney to represent you in this case or your future bankruptcy case, or both?
both.
Okay. And so now when you say you've retained an attorney, you've actually hired the attorney, or you're just thinking about it?
No, I've hired him.
Okay.
He
Does
actually
your
told me I
attorney-
didn't even do this today because I just talked to him yesterday. So he said I really didn't need to do this Zoom today, but I didn't know how.
Well, that's not true unless he has filed a suggestion of bankruptcy. Once he files a suggestion of bankruptcy in your case, then this case will be stayed. But I don't see that. Madam Clerk, do you see a suggestion of bankruptcy in the file?
Probably not. It was just yesterday. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't see it. So I'm glad you appeared. That was he was incorrect, or she was incorrect by telling you not to come. So I'm glad you're here. So did you discuss with your attorney? Does that sound familiar? The suggestion of bankruptcy, did that come up in your conversation?
Yes.
And is that going to be done to your
Yes.
knowledge?
Yes.
Do you have any idea when?
I don't know when he's going to send out letters or let creditors know. I would think it would be within this week.
Okay, that's good to know, because until that is done, the case is still moving forward. Once he files that suggestion of bankruptcy, then again, we'll be stayed. So what I'm going to do today is sign an order just basically indicating for the file that both sides appeared for this case, and that if something will happen within the next 14 days, Ms. Weisman, I'll ask you if you're not able to resolve this case by way of settlement negotiations, or if there is no suggestion of bankruptcy yet filed, to schedule a mediation. But that, of course, may be put on hold if we get a suggestion of bankruptcy. Ms. Wolf, do you have any questions about any of that?
No.
Okay, so that's it for today. You're free to sign off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Weisman, do you have any others on the docket?
I honestly don't know, Your Honor. That's all I had on my list that was assigned to me today.
Okay. let me go to Mr. Garrett. I see you. Are you ready, or do you need some more time?
Yeah, I'm ready for now.
Okay, so out of the folks that we have with us here, do you recognize any of them as your case?
Yeah, at least two. The Luckett one and John Martinez.
All right, let's go with Mr. Martinez. I spoke to him earlier. John Martinez, you can unmute.
Yes.
All right, good morning, Mr. Martinez.
Good morning.
And this is case number 20 SC 2490. Mr. Garrett, can you just give me a brief summary of your case, whether you're ready to go to trial and whether you're available to negotiate?
Ready to go to trial, and we're ready to negotiate. Midland bought one of Mr. Martinez's credit cards.
It's a credit card case. Okay. Mr. Martinez, are you open to discussing this case with Mr. Garrett or someone in his office to try to settle the case?
Yeah, we're making plans already.
You're making plans?
Payments.
So does that mean
Payment.
have you already entered into an agreement?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Mr. Garrett, would you know that? Would you see that in your file or no?
Not usually. Did he just make the agreement?
No, it's been a few months.
It's a few months.
And have you already been making payments?
Yes. 97.14 a month.
Do you remember who you spoke with when you were negotiating?
No, but it's automatic, Your Honor, out of our bank account.
Do you have a written settlement agreement? Is there something in writing?
No,
This is my
I can
statement.
we can probably find it. I can look for it if you need it now.
Well, I think that it should show up in Mr. Garrett's file at some point. They're going to want to see that.
Judge, a lot of times what happens is they get into a defendant's bank account, and frankly, they don't get to executing a document. So all I could suggest is that Mr. Martinez gets on the phone, and I'll put in my report that we set it for trial now, but Mr. Martinez gets on the phone immediately and doesn't let them take more payments until they have a signed settlement agreement. Because your calendar doesn't you run your own calendar, and you're not held up by.
Yeah, please take the payment for automatically on my bank.
Mr. Garrett, is there a number that you can give them to call to try and work this out? There should be obviously something in writing. If there's any confusion, who would they call to discuss this with?
Yeah, it'll be the number on the lawsuit. Does he have the lawsuit there? Or I can give it to him.
I'd rather you just give it to him to make sure. Mr. Martinez, do you have something to write with?
Yes.
He's going to give you a phone number to use to contact somebody to look into this, okay? And make sure that your agreement is in writing.
All right, no problem. Thank you.
866
866
300
300
8750.
8750. Anyone in particular, or?
No, because they're just a humongous firm.
So whoever they reach is fine. Do they need to give them a case number?
Pardon?
Do they need to give the person they reach a case number or file number?
Yeah, the best is, you ready? It's 20 dash 175 891
891.
Okay. And just to recap, what are we to ask for? Something in writing and
yeah, because no, you want a signed settlement agreement, because the judge doesn't have to wait on Midland's. Midland should have sent you something. You should have signed it and send it back, because right now they have their hooks into your bank account and you don't have a signed agreement.
Correct.
Okay.
Not that they're going to go behind your back, but you don't have anything you don't have anything signed. So I would get on the phone with them today, and I'm going to send them a message too to get you a settlement agreement, because the judge has to get this off his list of cases.
All right.
All right.
That's why we thought it was strange that we are already making payments, and it was still on the docket. So.
Well, that's good that you're still. I mean, it sounds like you're on it. You just need to document your agreement in writing. Okay, and that's a good thing. Just make sure it's in writing, and then make sure both you and the other side has a copy of it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, so that's it. You're free to sign off. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor.
Okay, bye-bye. All right,
Bye.
Mr. Garrett.
So hay que llamar. Ay, por eso me estaba extrañando que estaba.
Mr. Garrett, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you were talking to me or somebody there.
No, I'm juggling.
Okay, all right. I think you're probably making notes about the case we just did. When you're done with that, I need you to look at these other 4 folks and tell me if any of them are you. I've got 2 folks listed as iPhone. Sir, sorry, go ahead, Mr. Garrett.
Luckady.
Luckady Myrtle. Sir, can you unmute, please?
Yes.
Good morning,
Yes,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Myrtle. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Garrett, what's this case about?
This is a credit card debt, and we're ready to discuss it with them or go to trial.
Mr. Myrtle, are you open to discussing this case with Midland to try to solve it, to try to reach some sort of agreement?
I have a lawyer. I hired a lawyer already. Because I'm gonna file for bankrupt.
Who did you hire?
Let me check the name. Give me 1 second. Chris Harlan.
Okay, when did you do that?
She's working on the case. I don't think she put anything out yet.
Okay, is your lawyer going to file a suggestion of bankruptcy?
Yes.
That's your understanding? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Mr. Garrett, I don't think there's anything further for us to do today. We'll wait and see if that happens. Do you have any questions or comments?
No, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Myrtle, that's it. Just make sure you stay in touch with your lawyer, because right now
Yes.
there is no suggestion of bankruptcy in the file. They haven't done that yet.
No, I
So
know, I know. She's working on the case now because it's me and my wife.
Okay.
Yeah, she's working on it now.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. You're free to sign off. Have a good day.
All right, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Garrett.
48. So it's 1,538. And as he said, it was express.
Judge, I recognize the last name, or Rafael Herrera Guevara.
Mr. Guevara, case number 20 SC 2473. You can unmute.
He had a family member file a answer to the complaint.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Cynthia. I'm his daughter, the one that filed the answer. And this is
Okay.
my dad.
And your dad is Rafael Herrera Guevara?
Yeah.
Okay. And so why did you sign an answer for your father?
My dad doesn't speak very good English or write English, so I'm kind of helping him interpret.
Okay. So let me ask you, you've been here the whole time. I believe you heard me discuss trials and the risks of going to trial and the way our settlement agreements are typically made up about payment plans and that sort of thing. Are you open to discussing this case and the possibility of settlement with your father and the attorney for the other side?
Yes, I discussed it with him while you were going through the other cases, and he said settle or discuss settling.
Discuss it. So the idea of making payments is a possibility for you and your father.
Correct.
All right, Mr. Garrett, how about you? What do you have to say about this case?
Yeah, we're open to discussing settlement.
And this looks like a credit card case as well, a credit card dispute from Zales. Okay, so ma'am, if you can, once we're done here, you can explain to your father, I'm going to make a note that you appeared and that Mr. Garrett appeared for the other side. And then you need to contact Mr. Garrett or somebody in his office to make those, to discuss the possibility of a settlement. Okay.
Okay, and okay, I see the office number on the bottom.
You have his office number?
I have the one that's on that lawsuit thing that they sent at the very bottom where it's signed. I don't know.
The complaint. Yep. And is that, Mr. Garrett, that's the best number for her to use?
Yes, yes, Judge.
Do you want to give them a file number as well?
Yes. So you probably have to arrange for it prior to that. To make it effective. Start on the 9th of February.
Mr. Garrett, do you want to give her a file number for reference?
I'm going to read it to you. It'll be recorded.
I'm pulling it up right now. It is 20-258 299.
Ma'am, did you get that?
I did.
All right, great. Well, thank you very much to you and your father, and you all are free to log off, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
So, sir, it looks like in the blue t-shirt, you're listed as iPhone. What is your name? Can you unmute and tell us your name? How about Brooke Zarati? Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Garrett, is this one of your cases?
I don't recognize it as one.
I actually don't see the name on the kit.
My name is Oralia Hinojosa.
Oh.
Oralia Hinojosa with an H.
With an H. Oralia Hinojosa.
Hinojosa, yes.
20 SC 2078. That's Miss, I think that's going to be one of Miss Weisman's cases. Miss Weisman?
Let me see if I can try to find it by the case number, Your Honor. So 20 SC 00
2078.
Oh boy. I apologize, Your Honor. 2078. Okay. I'll search it up on the Collier because that's the easier way to do it. 2078.
Is there anything I can look at in my file to help you?
At the bottom of the signature page, there should be a unique file number wherever Miss Mooley signed it.
The statement of claim?
Yeah, that it would be underneath her signature block.
Okay, I can tell you what that is, if that helps.
Yes, Your Honor.
It looks like a 10-digit number.
Probably.
200-500-1823. Oh, it's got your signature on it.
All right, Your Honor, I pulled it up. Let me see here. Just review it real quick. So this is for a city furniture credit card account. The amounts that we are seeking are $1,599.96 plus court cost of $245. We are prepared to go to trial, and we are also prepared to speak to Ms. Hinojosa regarding a settlement.
Okay, Ms. Hinojosa, are you willing to speak with her about possibly settling this case, making payment plans?
I can't afford to pay because I only get my pension check and I'm a widow.
Okay, so you can't afford to pay anything?
No, I mean, because I pay my bills and my grocery and my clothes and I can't afford it. I want to pay, but I can't.
Okay, that's fine. Let me just explain what that means, okay? And I understand that's perfectly fine. No one is questioning you on that. But if you're not able to enter into a payment plan and settle the case, then we have to move forward with the court case. And so Ms. Weisman, within the next 2 weeks, is going to contact the mediator here in Collier County to schedule a mediation with a mediator. You can explain to them that you cannot afford to make payments, and then the case will be set for trial. And then we'll come back to trial. And I just want you to understand that I fully accept what you're telling me. I understand financial hardship, but you need to understand that financial hardship is not a legal defense to this case. And so we'll come back for a trial and see what happens then. The attorney for the other side will be scheduling a mediation. That'll be on Zoom, just like this morning, and you'll get notice of that sometime in the near future, okay?
Yes, can you tell me the balance I owe?
Ms. Weisman?
Yes, the principal is $1,599.96. There's also court cost of $245. So the total amount is $1,844.96.
Not unless they could give me like small payments, because I can't afford, like, you know.
Well, you'll never know unless you call them and ask. They may give you small payments. Do you have a do you have a phone number for them?
Yes. Or can you guys give me their phone number and I can call?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do you have a pen and paper?
Yes.
Okay, it's 877-229-5972.
Okay, I will give them a call.
Does she need a file number? Anything else for reference?
The file number, ma'am, is 200-500-1823.
All right.
And that'll be on your paperwork too. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It can't hurt to call and try.
Yeah.
And maybe you can work something out. And if not, that's okay. You can come back to court. Okay.
All right. All right.
Ma'am, you're free to go.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mimi Anderson, can you unmute, please?
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Judge.
Okay, so Ms. Weisman or Mr. Garrett, either of you involved in this case?
I looked up the name as is, and it's not in my system under that name.
It might be under Mimi Richmond.
Richmond?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I don't show that either.
I don't have that either.
Madam Clerk, do you have an Anderson or a Richmond?
I don't have either, Your Honor.
Now, what's the last four of her case number?
Do you have a case number with you by any chance?
Yes, let me take a look.
Okay.
Let's see here. 2327.
Is that enough to help the attorneys?
32, there's a 3237. No.
That doesn't help me or Madam Clerk. But let me ask Ms. Anderson, do you have a case number that looks something like this? It would say 20 SC. Hold on. Yeah, Madam Clerk, did you find it?
I believe I have. Let me just verify. Would it be under Mimi Richmond?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I do have that here. It's actually set on January 19th.
That's a separate case.
What?
Okay.
You have, okay.
Besides that, there is another case, but that case is disposed. It's 20 SC 2327. That was disposed the 31st of last month for a notice of voluntary dismissal.
I do see that. So, Miss Anderson, just to make sure you understood all that, 20 SC 2327, that's Midland Funding versus Mimi Richmond, was dismissed. So the plaintiff dismissed that case.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The only other case that we show for you, Madam Clerk said, is set for later this month.
They had advised me to still show today, even though that we had settled, just in case the paperwork hadn't been filed yet.
It is filed. So I appreciate you showing up, but you're free to go.
All right. Thank you so much, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Have a good day. Okay, ma'am, in a white t-shirt listed as iPhone, white t-shirt and blue t-shirt. Can you unmute and tell me your name, please?
My name is Gabriela, and I'm here with my mom, Sonia Avila. She's the defendant.
Zonia Avila, 20 SC 2257.
Correct.
Yeah. Judge, I think the docket has a settlement in November.
That's correct.
Avila. So Why don't I see that?
Let me see.
Zonia Avila.
Oh, I just see that, Your
Oh,
Honor.
notice of settlement was filed November the 19th.
Yeah, this case is closed. The notice of hearing came up a few days after the settlement.
Yeah, we sent the notice out on November 23rd. So at the time that we set this for hearing today, we were not aware of your settlement. Are you in good standing? Have you been making those payments?
Yes. Well, I have been making the payments for my mom.
Okay.
She hasn't been working since the pandemic. So I'm making the payments for her. We try to get the amount lower, but they didn't want to do that. So.
Okay, so as long as you're in good standing, there's nothing else for us to do today. You just need to continue to comply with your settlement agreement, okay?
Okay. Well, thank
and
you.
if you make all of those payments, then they'll dismiss the case at the end.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for showing up, and you're free to go.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, sir, is it a blue or gray t-shirt? Can you unmute, please?
Yes.
Good morning. What is your name, sir?
Timothy Bowen II.
Timothy Bowen.
2342.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Garrett, is that yours or Miss Wiesman?
It's mine, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Garrett, tell me about this case, please.
This is another Midland credit card case. We're happy to eventually speak to Mr. Bowen, set it for trial.
I spoke.
Go ahead.
I spoke with them yesterday, and I paid half of it, and we set up payments of $117 a month for the next 11 months.
Mr. Bowman, your audio was in and out there. Did you just tell us that you've already entered into a settlement agreement or you've agreed to terms?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see that yet in my file, but that sounds like it's because you just did it yesterday.
Yes,
Mr.
Your
Garrett, do you have any paperwork on that?
No, not yet, Your Honor. So I don't know if you heard us earlier, Mr. Bowen. My suggestion would be make sure they send you paperwork that you actually have to sign, because otherwise, otherwise the court system doesn't know that you're settled until we file paperwork.
Yes, they said they'd be sending that out within the next week. It was just settled yesterday afternoon.
No problem.
Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. So I appreciate you showing up to tell me that. And what that means then, Mr. Bowen, is there's nothing else for us to do today. You just need to watch for that paperwork. Make sure you sign it right away if that's what you want to do and send it back to them, okay?
Okay, sounds good, Your Honor.
Mr. Garrett, anything else from you on this case before Mr. Bowen signs off? Okay, thank you, Mr. Bowen. You're free to go. Have a great day, sir.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Garrett, do you have any other cases on the 11 o'clock docket?
Judge, I'm just finishing up a recording of a mediation agreement.
You want me to come back to you?
I'll be right with you in a minute.
Yeah, no rush. That's okay. I'll talk with Miss Wiesman. How about you? We're out of people. There's no one else in the waiting room. Do you have any others on the docket? I can give you those numbers to help you to look them up.
Sure, Your Honor. I can do the case numbers, but I'm not having much luck with them.
Okay. Do you want that the case number on the bottom of your signature block?
Sure.
All right. This is 501-6717. Jesus Acosta.
Let's see here. So, Your Honor, I do show proof of service was August the 11th of 2020.
This is your case, I take it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so let me take it from there. I know that the defendant's been served. I checked service on all of these cases before I set them today. So, Madam Clerk, this is Jesus Acosta, 20 SC 2140. I'll make a note, Ms. Wiesman, to reflect your appearance today and the fact that the defendant did not appear. So there is an order setting
Your Honor,
the
if I may.
pre-trial. Yep.
If we're in Jesus Acosta, there's a return mail for the pretrial conference.
Yeah,
order.
I see that. I'm getting to it. There's a notice of pretrial conference in the court file today. But I need to go through all of this just for the record to reflect what's been done. There's a notice of pretrial conference that was mailed to the defendant on November 23rd. That is for today's date, 11 o'clock. It's 11:46. He's not in the courtroom. And again, no one else is in the waiting room. I do see that it was returned. It says unable, return to sender. It doesn't say unable to forward. It just says return to sender, not at this address. And then on the envelope, it says remailed. So my office, it says return to sender, and it gave on the envelope, there's a stamp with a new address for the defendant. And we remailed the notice to that new address. So he was properly noticed and he's not here. So Ms. Wiesman, I'm going to reflect your appearance, enter a default against the defendant based on his failure to appear, and ask you to send in a proposed judgment with supporting affidavits.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And do you want me to give you the next file number on the signature block? Is that the best way?
Yes,
okay.
please.
Okay, the next one is, I don't see that. There is no such number below the signature block. Maybe that tells us it's not your office.
What's the name of the attorney, Your Honor, who signed it?
Johan Green.
That's not with my firm, Your Honor.
Okay, that works. So the next one I'll give you. Let me pull this one up. Would you know just based on the attorney if I just told you that?
Yes.
Oh, I could do that a lot faster. I'm sorry. I'll do that on the next one. This is also not your firm. It's Payel Chetani's firm.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, that's Mr. Garrett. How about attorney Valerie Obi of Valer?
That's me.
Nope.
Also Mr. Garrett. How about Johan Green? That's not you, Ms. Wiesman. How about Sharon Walker?
Yes, that's me.
That's you. Okay, so now I'll give you the file number, which I think you'll want to pull up the file. Okay, the file number is 200-500-2565. And this is son Linda Ramos. Our case number is 20 SC 2398. Ms. Wiesman is here on behalf of Midland Credit, and I'm going to review the file for notice. There is an order setting pretrial conference for today's date at 11 o'clock. It's 11:49. I mailed this to the defendant on November 23rd, 2020 with the Zoom login credentials. This was not returned. And again, everyone on the docket today has been properly served. I verified that before putting them on the docket. No one is in the courtroom. No one is in the waiting room. Ms. Wiesman, I'm going to enter an order reflecting your appearance, entering a default against the defendant based on her failure to appear today, and ask you to send in a proposed judgment with supporting affidavits.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and the last one that may be yours, the attorney is Molly Fitzpatrick.
No, Your Honor.
No. So I guess that's it for you.
Yes, Your Honor, but I guess I missed tens, so I should stay.
Yes, you should stay. All right, so let's go to Mr. Garrett. Mr. Garrett, are you ready, or do you want me to go to the tens and come back
Judge,
to
if you could deal with her tens, I think she had like 3 or 4 or 5 of them. I would appreciate it. And then
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Madam Clerk, do you need a minute to switch back to our 10 o'clock docket?
Just one quick second, and I'll be done. Okay, I'm ready.
Ms. Weisman, do you know these folks, or do you want me to go through the same procedure to identify them?
Your Honor, I would ask to go through the same procedure because I looked at the docket that was assigned to the entire firm today, and we don't have any Collier listed at 10 o'clock.
All right, give me a second. I'm going through my orders that I signed at the time, and I'll find the ones that say the neither showed up. Okay. This one I know is yours because I know that you have Christina Moley, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Madam Clerk, our case number is 20 SC 1458, Owen Valerie. This is a recall from the 10 o'clock docket, and I will, Ms. Weisman, I'll give you that case number, signature block case number. Are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
It is 502-0651. Owen Valerie.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, this has already been dismissed. I dismissed this at following the 10 o'clock docket based on the fact that neither side showed up. And you're telling me you didn't have that on your docket?
No, Your Honor. So I'll be honest with you, the notice of hearing is in our system. However, the person who inputted the notice of hearing did not input the correct code to trigger it to let us know that there was a hearing today.
Is the code you're referencing? Is that something on your end or something on our end? Because I don't know what that code is.
Okay, so when we get a notice of hearing and there's a date on it, with our system, we have to actually input the date and time into our system and it triggers a code. And then every day they pull that particular code to, well, not every, the day before they pull that code to prepare the docket for the day. So the person who inputted the notice of hearing did not input that code to trigger the calendar girls to know that it was set for hearing today.
But the code is something generated on your end. It's not like we
Yes.
sent you bad information.
Nope, it's all our end.
Okay, and so you're making an oral motion to set aside the dismissal based on that calendaring issue?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and you're otherwise prepared to proceed and there's merit to your case, you believe, if I set aside the dismissal? You have a good faith basis to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the motion to set aside the dismissal is granted, and you want to address the pretrial?
Yes, Your Honor.
The notice of pretrial is in the court file. It was mailed to the defendant. I know that the defendant did not appear and has still not appeared. This Zoom information, by the way, I've had a 10 o'clock docket and an 11 o'clock docket. It's the same Zoom hearing for both dockets. So the login credentials we sent to the defendant for 10 o'clock are still valid at this very minute. So this person could still log in, but hasn't done so. It's 11:54. This person was noticed for 10 o'clock and is not here, not in the courtroom, not in the waiting room. And so a default is entered against the defendant. Ms. Weisman, I'm going to ask you to send me a couple of different orders. One is an order setting aside the dismissal, and another is a default judgment with with supporting affidavits.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, do you need anything else for that one?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. So just to be clear then, the order that I've already signed, that I signed more than an hour ago, is still going through. That's the order of dismissal, which is signed first in time, but then I'll get your order setting that aside with the default judgment. Okay. The next case for the 10 o'clock is also Christina Moley. Madam Clerk, our case number on this one is 20 SC 1479. Adriana Juleson. And Ms. Weisman, I'll give you that number here in just a minute. Your file number is 502-0566.
Yes, Your Honor.
You see this one? This
Yes,
is
Your Honor.
Adriana Julesen. Okay. And do you have a motion?
Yes, Your Honor, it'd be an or tennis motion to set aside the dismissal based upon a calendaring error.
All right. And that's the same error you explained to me earlier with your internal code that wasn't put in properly, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if I were to set aside the dismissal, you believe there's merit to your case, you have a good faith basis to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So again, the same thing. The order dismissing the case will still be processed. It's first in time. Your motion to set aside that dismissal is granted. I'll ask you to send in a proposed order setting aside the dismissal. And then with respect to the pretrial conference, there is a notice of pretrial conference that was mailed to the defendant November 23rd for today at 10 o'clock. It's now 11:56. As I indicated earlier, the login credentials provided to the defendant work not only for 10 o'clock, but all the way up until this minute. The current meeting we're in has the same login credentials. No one's here, no one's in the waiting room. So a default judgment is entered against the defendant. Ms. Wiesman, you'll send me a proposed order setting aside the dismissal and a proposed default final judgment with supporting affidavits. Madam
Sure.
Clerk, you need anything else on Julesen?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry, Ms. Wiesman, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, I
Okay.
just said yes, Your Honor.
Okay, let's see. The next one is also yours. Madam Clerk, our case is Hart, Christina Hart, 20 SC 1472. And the number for Ms. Wiesman is 5020338.
Yes, Your Honor. I found it, Your Honor.
Okay, Christina Hart, do you have a motion in this case? It's already been dismissed.
Let me just see something, Your Honor, because we sent her a settlement agreement back in July. Let me just see if she's actually paid anything. I don't have a fully executed. Okay, so on this particular case, we did send her a settlement agreement. She has not returned it. However, she is fully complying with the agreement. She has started making payments in July of last year, and she has consistently made a payment every month. Her next payment under the agreement would be January the 15th.
Okay,
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm not comfortable defaulting her because I mean, she clearly is complying with it. She just hasn't sent us the agreement back.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I agree with that. So do you have a motion regarding the dismissal?
Yes, Your Honor, I would do an or tennis motion to set aside the dismissal based upon the calendaring error.
All right, that motion is granted. Will you send me a proposed order to that effect?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that'll be the only thing I need from you on this case is a proposed order. Can you include a sentence in there that simply says something to the effect of the case will remain open pending settlement negotiations?
Yes, Your Honor.
Or a executed settlement agreement or something like that. Okay, so that's it for Christina Hart. And the only other one I have from 10 o'clock is Oscar DeLeon. The attorney is Monique Pope. Or Molly, I think.
Yes, that would be mine.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, our case number is 20 SC 1526. Oscar DeLeon, and Ms. Wiesman, your number is 501-9755.
Yep.
Monique Pardo.
Yes, Your Honor, I do have that one.
All right, and this case was previously dismissed.
Yes, Your Honor, I would do an or tennis motion to set aside the dismissal. It appears it's the same exact calendaring issue.
All right, motion to dismiss is granted. Will you send me a proposed order to that effect?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So there is an order setting pretrial conference today at 10 o'clock. I mailed this to the defendant November 23rd for 10 o'clock. Same login credentials for 10 o'clock all the way up to now. Courtroom is empty. No one else is in the waiting room. So a default is entered against the defendant based on his failure to appear. Ms. Weisman, in addition to the order setting aside the dismissal, I will need a proposed judgment with supporting affidavits.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Now, we also had one other case actually where defendant did appear, plaintiff did not. Let's see if that's one of yours. And that is Anthony Ramirez, 20 SC 1527. And this actually, yes, this actually has your name on it. So this is one of yours. Because the defendant was here, I'm going to ask you to send in a written motion. I don't want to do that or tennis. They appeared at the hearing. You can send in a written motion for my consideration regarding the dismissal, okay?
Yes, Your Honor. May I have our file number for that one?
Sure. Let's see. Anthony Ramirez. Your file number 5020128.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. And that completes our 10 o'clock docket. And I think that's it then for you, Ms. Weisman?
Yes, Your Honor, and I apologize for failing to appear this morning.
Well, that's all right. We'll get through it.
All right.
So you have a great day.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Madam Clerk, do you need a minute to switch back to the 11 o'clock?
Yes, please. It just takes
Okay.
1 second.
Okay, just let us know when you're ready.
I'm fully ready, Judge, now.
All right, thank you.
My head hurts, but I'm ready.
Yeah, mine too. We're getting there.
I'm ready, Your Honor.
Okay, so everybody's here and ready. Mr. Garrett.
All right. Is there any way, do you have the ones we already did that I can check just to make sure I got my notes right? Because it's been very hectic.
Sure. You want to know the ones that have already been done?
Yeah, 2059. I think he's going to file bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
2059. Yep, that's what he said.
2257's already been dismissed. That was the settlement people,
Okay.
right?
I'm looking at my notes here. It's, yeah, parties settled 2257. Yep.
2342. Timothy Mullen, he's settlements in process.
Yeah, I just noted both parties appeared. So
Great. And 2473, that was the woman with her father.
both parties appeared. Yep.
All right. And 2490, John Martinez is the same way.
Yeah, both parties appeared.
Right. And I have 3 or 4 more. Starting
Okay.
with-
So the other ones we did already are not yours then, I guess, huh?
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, we have a few left to go. Do you want to call them?
Yeah, I can do that. Starting with 2072, Timothy Miranda.
Okay. 20 SC 2072, order setting pretrial conference in the file, mailed to the defendant November 23rd for today's date at 11 o'clock. It's now 12:04. The courtroom is empty. No one else is in the waiting room. So I'll make a note here that Mr. Garrett did appear on behalf of the plaintiff. A default is entered against the defendant based on his failure to appear. Mr. Garrett to submit a proposed judgment supporting affidavits.
Thank you. The next one is 2234, Cameron Gonzalez.
Cameron. All right. In this case, with Cameron Gonzalez, 20 SC 2234, notice of pretrial conference mailed to the defendant November 23rd for today's date at 11 o'clock. It's 12:05. No one's here. No one's in the waiting room. Plaintiff appeared. Defendant did not. Default is entered with plaintiff to submit a judgment and supporting affidavits. Okay.
Next one is 2259, Tatiana Orpesa.
Orpesa. Yes. Order setting pretrial conference mailed to the defendant November 23rd for today's date at 11 o'clock. It's 12:05. She's not here, not in the waiting room. Default is entered based on the defendant's failure to appear with Mr. Garrett to file a proposed judgment supporting affidavits.
Thank you. Last one, I think, is 2341, Michael Keller.
Keller. All right, let's see. There is an order setting the pretrial conference for today at 11 o'clock. This was mailed to the defendant November 23rd. So he was properly noticed. He's been served. He's not in the courtroom. He's not in the waiting room. A default is entered against the defendant based on his failure to appear. And I'll ask Mr. Garrett to send in a proposed judgment and supporting affidavits.
Thank you. And I would ask the clerk, are there any other Midlands today? I think
Yes, I have one more on mine pocket, 20 SC.
Ortega.
Yes, Your Honor, Ortega.
2453.
Correct.
453.
Lazaro Ortega.
That's fine. Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay.
All right. So Lazaro Ortega, 20 SC 2453. There's a notice of pretrial conference in the court file I mailed to the defendant November 23rd to be here today at 11 o'clock. He was served. He's on notice. It's 12:07. He's not here. He's not in the waiting room. Plaintiff is here. Default entered against the defendant based on his failure to appear, with Mr. Garrett to submit supporting affidavits, proposed judgment. And I believe that that's it.
That is it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Garrett. Have a great day.
Thank you, clerk. Have a good
All
day.
right. You too. Bye-bye. Madam Clerk, I have a question, though. I still have, I think we did these two cases. Can I give you case numbers? Melissa Richardson and Mimi Richmond.
Mimi Richmond?
Yeah. That's one.
I believe that's the one that we had discussed earlier that was canceled off this docket due to a, she has two pending cases. One was already dismissed. Correct. And the other one is set for February, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, this was... So let's see, 20 SC 2327.
That one was disposed of as
previously dismissed. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay, and Melissa Richardson is 20 SC 2082. I think we did that. I just didn't fill out my paperwork.
I'm sorry, 2082?
Oh, there's a, yeah. Stipula, they've settled.
Correct. That was actually entered this morning at 11:19.
Previously, did I sign the order dismissing?
You
previously
did,
dismissed.
You did, yes.
Okay.
Ratifying stipulation and order of dismissal, correct.
All right, and I think that's all of our cases. So thank you, Madam Clerk. Have a great day. We are adjourned.
Thank you, Judge. And sorry about earlier. It was stuck on the connecting screen and it wouldn't log me in, so.
Well, that's okay.
All right. Well,
No
thank you,
problem.
Judge.